Hi, I'm Craig with Viking Professional Restoration Systems. We're not professional videographers, we're water damage restoration professionals, so forgive some of our bloopers. We're going to keep shooting right through them. We're at a loss today in Youngsville, Pennsylvania. The way that we got brought into this loss was a little bit of an uncomfortable way, but a necessary way. Another cleaning and restoration company was originally called in to handle this loss. There was some major concerns, some major issues, at which point the customer and the insurance company requested that they come remove their equipment and asked us to come in and pick up the ball and run with it. I'm going to try to, in this video real quick, illustrate some of the right ways of doing things, or some of the ways in which, the manner that this can be approached. But also, I am going to be pointing out a lot of the errors that the other company made, because those are just as important. They set apart the difference between a professional water restoration company and a company that does carpet cleaning and dabbles in water restoration. We're not going to call anybody names or call anybody out, so we're just going to refer to them because they did things the wrong way. We're going to call them wrong way cleaning and restoration. First, a little background of the loss, real quick, what happened. And we'll go upstairs, you'll see that in a few minutes. There was a sink upstairs, the supply lines burst to that sink. Water came down through the ceiling, took out a portion of the ceiling and the tiles, the ceiling tiles here, some of the lath and plaster that was above, and then continued on, and saturated the carpet. Customer discovered the water leak, of course shut the water line off after a lot of water flowed through, and they had contacted Wrong Way Cleaning and Restoration to come in and correct the problem. This is where some of the concerns came in. A few health and safety aspects that happened. First of all, you have to show the utmost concern for the health and safety of the occupants of the building, even if you need to put money out of your pocket, put them into a hotel and work with the insurance company later. You have to look out for the well-being of the occupants. This particular loss, the lady that lives here is an 85-year-old lady. She has a walker, she has a few health issues, she takes numerous prescriptions. She had a hospital bed sitting right here where I'm standing right now. The shelves in front of me had numerous prescription medications. In this room, with her hospital bed here, she was expected to sleep on this bed, and she did sleep on this bed for a night. She was forced to sleep on her bed for a night in this room. There was two 3,000 CFM axial fans pointed this way, right at the edge of her bed. Her prescriptions were sitting right here. Right here where I'm standing was a Phoenix 200 HT dehumidifier. This dehumidifier stands about 4 feet tall and is about 2.5 foot square. Limiting her ability to get through her room and also up to her bed. Over here, in this vicinity, sat a 2200 CFM snout air mover. This air mover was pointed 45-degree angle upwards at this area here. If you'll notice, there's a lot of construction debris up there that gets stirred up in the air. So here we have an 85-year-old female sleeping here in a hospital bed, two 3,000 CFM axial fans blowing at her bed, an air mover blowing up here at construction debris. There's not too many things that make me mad, but this absolutely infuriated me when I saw this morning. On top of that, the moisture in this room is in this carpet beneath us. Throughout this room, the air movers are going that way and that way. There was inadequate air movement on the moisture on the carpet. There was also no attention being put to the moisture inside the wall. They were doing a lot of drying of already dry air. I metered the air going into the dehumidifier. The air going in the dehumidifier and coming out of it, there was only a 2 grain per pound depressions. Basically, the dehumidifier wasn't doing anything. There was no evaporation of the moisture in the building, and the outside air is very dry. You see our video about wall condensation. You'll see that what I'm describing that they were doing was actually creating more moisture in the walls and more moisture to the exterior of the building than what to do damage down the road. Over here, Rich, you might be able to get a picture of this. We have this corner saturated. No air movement at all was getting onto this corner. Had that been left alone, there would have been some major issues with that down the road, with that amount of moisture. So the problem in here, two problems. Number one, with what Wrong Way was doing was very unsafe, definitely unhealthy for the occupant, and from a drying standpoint, 100% ineffective. Not in 100 years would that have accomplished any drying goals in here. We'll take a quick walk downstairs. Well, we're walking down to the basement. I wanted to point out what this ceiling is right here, and we'll show you something from upstairs. And we don't have the most space in the world on our memory card, and this camera doesn't have a pause button, so this is actually like our second or third or fourth or fifth take. So a few things I'm kind of rushing to get through with the available memory that we have. Down here, Wrong Way did not even come down here into the basement. And it would seem kind of standard practice. You have water that comes through a ceiling, it comes down into the floor. The water is going to keep going until it finds a terminal point. And that's, once you find out on water loss where the water came from, you need to find out that terminal point. Where did that water finally go to either pool up or be evacuated? When we came down here, you can see above, I'm going to have to shine a flashlight on it. And not the best flashlight in the world, but you'll see a lot of the insulation that we removed. Reason being, we came down here, the insulation was actually hanging down. It was saturated with water. We come up to the understructure of the building, you'll see 15%, 20%. So that water came down to the basement, took out this insulation, then its terminal point was down the drain right here. That's where the water ultimately went. But within the path of the water's doing damage. Everything needs to be addressed. Nothing was done to address this problem. Without addressing this problem and this subfloor right here, and there's another subfloor above this actually, any efforts made on the main level are absolutely futile. We're going to take a quick run upstairs to the top level. Forgive us, we don't have a pause button, but we'll walk fast. There's our truck. I know, Rich, can you have enough light to take a quick shot up there? The water damage in the wintertime, you have to be very careful on what equipment that's used. Standard practice equipment for drying in the industry doesn't work as effectively in the wintertime because you have to pay attention to dew points and vapor pressures. Dehumidifiers work by cool coils and the water and the air condensing on the coils. Problem is, if your exterior sheathing of your building, if the inside of the outside walls, the exterior sheathing, is colder than what the coils are on your dehumidifier, which they typically are this time of year, once you start evaporation in the building, that's where your moisture is going to go. So you need to have the proper training, definitely the proper equipment to address that. Now we're at the top level of the building. This is where the loss began. Right here. There was a sink here. Supply lines froze and burst. When we got here this morning, the main cabinet with the sink and the countertop was removed. There were two cabinets here. Nothing was done to address this situation. We came up here, we had a peel and stick tile floor throughout. when we come in here, we